So, yesterday we talked about the periodic table and we talked about groups and periods. Today we're going to use those two words to draw Bohrs model. Now, we're not going to get totally into the concept today. We'll talk about it more next week when I return, but I want you to get the general concept down so that you understand how the periods associate with the rings, the orbitals that surround the nucleus, and the group number associates with the number of electrons in the outer shell or rings of each element. So we said yesterday we had 7 periods. Those 7 periods go across the periodic table and each element is associated with that period. We also said that those rows associate with the number of shells or orbitals that surround the nucleus. So 1 would have 1 ring, 2 would have 2 rings, 3 would have 3 rings, so forth and so on. Now we also talked about groups. We have groups 1 through 8. We will not be doing any transitional metals because they do not fit this same description that these elements in groups 1 through 8 do. But we said the groups tell us the number of valence electrons in the outer shell. So group 4 would have 4 valence electrons. Group 7 would have 7 valence electrons. And once again, those are the electrons in the outer shell. So let's go ahead and get started. This is also on Shobi, so you can log on to Shobi and see the examples and then also see your homework for what you're going to do. Make sure you follow the directions of my 3 examples I give you. So we're going to start with thallium. So here's the element here, thallium. So on your periodic table, you're going to find Tl, thallium. I'll give you a few seconds to find that. Hopefully you can find it quickly. Now if we look, thallium is in period 6, group 3. So I'm at 6, and I go to group 3, and I find thallium. Now this is what we're going to do with that information. So make sure you copy this on your paper. First off, we know thallium is element number 81. Its atomic number is 81. So inside this nucleus, we're going to put P for number of protons, and we're going to put 81. Now we also know that means it has 81 electrons, but we're only going to worry about the electrons in the outer shell for today's assignment. Now after we draw the nucleus, we need to think again about the period. The period is the number of shells or rings that surround the nucleus. We said thallium was in period 6, so we're going to draw 6 rings around that nucleus. So you should have that on your paper. Notice I have 6 rings. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And once again, that associates with the period that thallium is in. Now the valence electrons, the electrons in the outer shell, refer to the group number. We said thallium was in group 3. We always put the electrons in a clockwise pattern, starting at the right and moving around like so. So we're going to have 1 electron here, 1 electron at the bottom in the outer shell, and then 1 electron on the left side in the outer shell. And remember, once again, that refers to that group number. So 1, 2, 3 for thallium. And that is all you have to do for each element. Make sure you put the symbol down so you have that information and you know what element you are talking about. Okay, we'll go ahead and do a next example. The next example is barium, Be. I'll give you a few seconds to try to find that on your periodic table. Okay, now as we look for barium, we see that it's in period 2, group 2, right here. Okay, also we see it as element number 4, atomic number 4. So we're going to draw a nucleus again, put a P, and we're going to put a 4 there. Now we said barium was in period 2, so that means we draw 2 rings. 1, 2. Okay. Now we said barium was in group 2, so that means it has 2 electrons, valence electrons, in its outer shell. So 1, 2. So period 2, group 2. I have 2 rings for periods. I have 2 electrons for the group. Once again, make sure you write your element symbol so you know what the element that is and you know what you're referring to. The last example I'm going to do with you is element S. So you need to find element S on your periodic table. I'll give you a few seconds to do that. Now if you look closely, element S is in period 3 and is also in group 6. So group 6, period 3. So we'll come back to our nucleus, and inside our nucleus we'll put the number of protons, which refers to the atomic number. So the atomic number is 16, so we have 16 protons. Now we said it is in it is in period 3, so that means we will draw 3 rings around the outside of the nucleus. So 1, 2, 3. And then we said it was in group 6. Now, this will be a little different. I'll talk about it as I go. We are still going to write those electrons in a clockwise pattern, going around that outside ring. So you can see we have 4 there. We said sulfur was in group 6. So we need 2 more. So we're going to start going back around and fill in those 2 spots. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's important that you fill the electrons in that pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And make sure we have those 6 electrons, which matches the group number for sulfur. Now if you have questions, you can pause this video and rewind it and watch it again and kind of try to figure that out. If you understand, you can go ahead and move on to the next ones. I'll kind of slowly put those on so you can see them. And then also, like I said, it is on Shobi for your assignment. So your first one, number 1, is hydrogen. Then you have xenon. Then number 3, you have nitrogen. Number 4, you have magnesium. Number 5, you have antimony. Number 6, you have silicon. Number 7, you have germanium, Ge. Number 8, You have Fr, francium. Number 9, you have fluorine, F. Number 10, you have oxygen, O. Number 11, you have Ba, barium. And your last one for today, number 12, is helium. Now I'm going to give you a hint. Yesterday we talked about helium. We said it was different than group 8 because of where it's located on the periodic table. It can only have 2 electrons in its shell. So that means helium should only have how many electrons on its ring. Make sure you associate that correctly. Good luck to you. Like I said, if you have questions, you can remind it to see the examples again or ask your table partners. Thanks.